Okay, I'm dealing with something right now where my audio is super delayed. This is just gonna be a post thing that I can figure out. Hello, hey guys. I promised in some live streams that I did that I would do a production breakdown of my new song. If you've been following me / subscribed to my channel, you'll know that I released a brand new song this Friday, and it's the first time that I've released brand new music in 4 years. And the stuff that I had released previously on my Spotify are things that I made in my very formative early years. I am just so excited that this song is out. If you know me, you know that first and foremost, I am a producer. So I produce 100% of my own music, and I use Ableton Live 12 in order to do so. I don't want to spend too much time talking, but I do want to get into a production breakdown of my new song, Blue Tsunami, which is 2 songs combined into one, just to show you the stems, how I did things. Also, it is currently Grammys Day. Charlie XCX is nominated in a bunch of gigantic categories, so I am wearing my Click crew neck, just hoping Brat Album of the Year. That would be very nice. But the color scheme with my newly red dyed hair, I just kind of look like Ronald fucking McDonald right now. So like I said previously, I use Ableton 12. I have a dark template set up, and I have color-coded all of my tracks. And like I said, this is a 2-in-1 song, so I have this first track here that is Blue mains, Blue Vox, Tsunami mains, and then Tsunami Vox. Obviously, Vox just means like vocal channels and stuff like that. And I'm also not opening... I guess it's over here. I'm not opening my sidebar where you can see all my plugins and stuff because I don't put things in folders that well and it's a mess. I'm just gonna stay down here in the corner. It's also important to note that before I start opening any of the tracks and things, my laptop is not very strong, so I have to essentially freeze and flatten all of my audio tracks, or else my CPU will burst through the roof. Audio will get crackly and super distorted, but you'll understand what I mean anyways. As disorganized as I am with keeping my folders on the side, I'm very organized when it comes to actually producing songs. I have my SFX channels up here, which I will just solo, my SFX bus, all these cool like squelchy sounds. This is technically under Blue mains, but the squelching sound comes back in Tsunami as well. Not exactly that important, and I have it plus up 5 dB. Not that exciting. And then we get into the mains for Blue. I'm just going to start at the very beginning of the song. I've named this Angry Warping Bass, and then it goes into Pulsing Bass because I'm pretty sure I put a trance gate on it, but you can't see it because everything has been frozen and flattened because Lord knows my CPU cannot handle plugins that well. It actually starts quietly. I believe I put a filter envelope on it so the bass opens up the further along it goes. This song has been through a lot of iterations, but for the most part this part has stayed the exact same. Got the bells. As you can tell, the angry warping bass is starting to open up a little bit more. And then this is where my vocals would start, but I have the bus soloed, so you're not hearing my vocals at the moment. Just moving forward in the song to the pulsing bass. You can tell that there's more of a trance gate on it where things are just kind of like fluttering open. And on top of these, I have these super nice, like, super nice samples I found that I mildly edited. Nothing on the instrument rack except one EQ here, which is cutting off a frequency that was too sharp. I just think it sounds so pretty. This part actually reminds me of Minecraft. The drums are relatively messy in this section. There are no drums in the first little portion of it, but then we move into this little thing called these boop drums. So these are the little pitter-patters at the top, and then this is the back kind of top drums. And then obviously a kick comes in. A bit slower than when we get into the actual chorus area. I did not realize how minor the drums were in this part of the song, actually. But we are still in the build-up, I believe. No, we are not. So then we come back with the descent of the song, with this outro roll sub thing. It's a lot deeper than you can actually hear. It probably isn't going to be able to pick up that well. But the coolest part, I believe, is these top drums here. And as you can see in the top corner up here, that the BPM is sliding down to... Hold on, let me check my envelopes again. I don't remember what the tempo changes to. Blue's tempo is 90 and Tsunami is a good 80. So for about, 25 seconds, it slides down from 90 to 80. And how I got this effect here is when you change tempos of songs, you have the option in Ableton's Warp menu to choose repitch. So that means if the song's getting slower, the sound is also going to be impacted. Everything's just kind of slowly rolling down as Blue ends. The production here is pretty simple, but my vocals, I had a really tough time comping and mixing them. There are a lot of vocals, so I'm just going to solo them for a second. Oh my, lot of stacks. So I have one in a choir, one in mid, and then two lows that are panned side to side that slowly come in over the chorus just to create like a building effect, and then something really in the back that's a high. That doesn't sound amazing. And then these are just subtle little harmonies that go in the back. They are so subtle, but they're panned so you can hear them in the actual song. Everything is relatively mixed here, and this is where everything kind of comes in. Oh, this fun little audio track here it's a different melody for the song that I recorded once, but the rest of the take that I took was not amazing. So I cropped it and I just left this part in because I loved the way it sounded. Yeah, the rest of the take was not amazing, but I love the way it sounds when included together in this vocal bus. Just a nice little source of variation. And then I guess getting to more interesting parts here would be the build-up and the hook of Blue. This is a super old audio take that I definitely recorded when I was in the Bahamas. Stacked harmonies in the back, nothing down here. This is a reversed and airy track of the main hook here. And then some subtle harmonies from the chorus in this part just to build. And then this is another I Love You This Much, except it is faded in just to build. You can tell this song absolutely loves building things up. And I would say that out of everything I've done, I think that probably took the longest amount of time. Because then we get to the chorus, the hook, which has these crazy vocal stacks. I'm pretty sure this is the one that is... This one has a tremolator on it, which I didn't freeze! Look at that! So it is pretty wide, it has 33 width. And the tremolator I have to this Wurlitzer MIDI effect. This one is pitched down -12 with a complex warp on it. And that is what all of it sounds like together. You can hear that tremolated blue part. You know what I think is funny is when I was first making this song, because this section Blue is actually quite old. I originally recorded it, I believe 2 years ago, like literally exactly 2 years ago when I was on vacation in the Caribbean. This is kind of embarrassing to admit as an artist. I've never been much of a singer, I suppose, and I've only learned how to do harmonies like in the past year and a half-ish. And before then, I had absolutely no harmonies. So when this song was in its very early demo stages, the blue part, it had absolutely no harmonies on it. It was just a straight one melody that was majorly layered and chorused. And I do have an old file of the song that I'm going to go through as well to show you how much this song has improved and progressed, because my production has improved and progressed so much, and I think that's important to know. This song went through a lot of workshopping, and there was a time where I didn't think that it would ever actually be released. I am so happy that you guys are able to hear it now. And then we get to the tempo slide down part. So what's important to know about here is that you can tell that the pitch of me saying blue is slowing down, it's getting darker. And how I've done this is through Ableton's repitch warping feature. Sorry, I just love this part. So essentially with repitch is, since this song is sliding from 90 BPM to 80 BPM, if I choose the repitch feature, it means it's going to warp the transients and repitch them to the song's tempo. So if the song slows down, the audio is going to get deeper, and if you speed it up, the audio is going to raise in pitch. So that's exactly what's happening here, is the audio tracks are just following along with the BPM slide. And then here with this at the end, what I've done is a cool trick that I really enjoy doing. Once again with Ableton's warp feature, as you can see here, this one is a -3 and it is stretched. So this part of the song is really stretched out, and I have the warp marker set to beats on 1/16 and it's pushing forward. So that means that every 16th transient of the song is going to push forward and then stop. So it creates this really cool jittery effect, and it's an effect that I thought I was so unique for doing in a lot of my songs until I was talking to one of my friends who also uses Ableton, and I showed him one of my songs, and the effect showed up and he's like, "Oh, you're using the beat 1/16 push forward reverse thing." And I'm like, "Oh, I guess I'm not that special." So I can show you what this does because it's a really cool effect. So if I turn this down, it's going to turn up the gate essentially. So it's going to stutter even more, but I like to keep the gate pretty loose, and if I choose it to 1/8, then it's going to stutter every 1/8. Oh, my apologies, my legs are falling asleep. My leg is asleep. I've been sitting on my leg. Oh, dear Lord. We have these strange little jarbling sounds here that you can hear in the background. That's probably so quiet. So blue is over and Tsunami is starting. So we can close all of these lovely blue main, blue Vox things and head into Tsunami territory here. And Tsunami, there is only... Yeah, looking at this, there's only one drum in Tsunami. I don't know if I actually realized that until this very moment. We start off with this, I call it a bird because it has this kind of like bird flickery sound in the background, and a high piano, which is pan 14 to the left, with a cutoff in the frequency here, and then this click loop, because it sounds like a really old Wurlitzer organ. This is a harp sample I found. The bass comes in here. Honestly, the bass is my favorite part of Tsunami because I think it comes in at a perfect time and really supports the vocals in the song. So this is the harp sample. Not very much to it. I thought it was cute. It has a pan man effect on it, which means it is bouncing from side to side. Producers everywhere. I don't know what kind of panning plugins y'all are using, but I am obsessed with this Pan Man plugin from Soundtoys, specifically this setting that I have right here called Pendulum Pan. Just turn it to a very soft pan and it just like smoothly goes from side to side. It's beautiful. And this synth pulse is kind of like the main source of this song that I created from chords based off of Future Proof by Massive Attack. So that's why this is called MIDI Massive Attack. And this high thing here is called Up Down, and I have a floating E piano on it. I'll be so real, I typically don't use Ableton's stock instruments, but I felt like it just worked this time, and this is probably my favorite track in Tsunami because I think it just adds so much and it is so pretty. Sorry, I'm just gonna go back so you guys can hear the bass coming again. There's honestly not much to the bass other than there's a low pass filter on it. That's it. Sorry, guys, it's been a while since I've opened this project file, so there are a few things that I'm realizing I've done here that I totally forgot about. Kind of like how this synth pump, synth pulse kind of changes here in the middle when the hook hits, where instead of doing this 4-chord sequence here, it just fluctuates between the first 2, I believe. But I do recall that when I was originally mixing this song, I had to do this because if I just kept the full 4-bar loop in here, it did sound off-key. And that's something I struggle with a lot in my music, where I actually don't know music theory. It's good to not know the rules in a way, because I can break them and create really cool things out of it, but also it's a hindrance at some points, because I'm like, why is this thing in D major and this one's in D minor, but when I auto-tune my vocals, it's in D sharp harmonic minor? Or some garbage like that. And then I end up in this never-ending cycle of something just sounds slightly off, but I never know why. But for the most part, I can figure it out because most songs are pretty straightforward. The only thing that's really added within the hook of Tsunami is these pulse chords right here. And then this high piano, which comes back. So these are the pulse chords. Which sound very pleasant. This piano that was originally in the beginning. So originally this is obviously 80 BPM, but this is sped up twice as fast. And it kind of stutters a little bit. I'm also really realizing how simplistic this is. I originally did not have this massive attack melody come back here, but I thought it was honestly the most beautiful part of the song, so I had to include it. I'm a sucker for melodies that go up and down and do like the and the vocals for this part are incredibly simple as well, so I'm going to solo the vocals. There's this reverse in the background, and the lead is a low version of how I was singing it, and the mids are panned to the side. Originally this was a vocal stack of a bunch of harmonies, but as you can see, I have this track set to resampling because I resampled them and put them all together into one track. But these ones have the full stacks still available for you to see, including this reverse layer here. Oh, and also something that's really cool here is that there is a callback to Blue in Tsunami, where these parts here, I've freeze and flattened them so you can't see how much I pitched this down, but these are the samples from Blue, but slightly pitched down to match the key of Tsunami. Sounds very ghostly. So yeah, that is relatively all of the production in my song, to be honest. Like, I wish I could just play more of the full track rather than just sitting here explaining like every individual thing. But the next thing I actually want to do is open up the old version of this song. So like I said, I started this song 2 years ago. And originally it was just Blue. I just had the first idea for Blue. I had the first verse and like the hook relatively, and then it kind of just trailed off into absolute nothingness. So now we have opened the old project file for this song, and as you can see, it is a lot more bare bones. There's only one vocal bus, and for the most part, as you can see here, the angry warping bass, the pulsing bass, the bells, these rollings, they're all the exact same. A lot of the big difference is that there's more drums here, I believe, and they're kind of more complex, but I stripped it back in the final version of the song because Blue was supposed to be very lush and not drum heavy. But for the first little bit, there's not much of a difference. I kept the exact same bass and everything. And this is the original vocal take from the verse that I have resampled, which I've called choir. So everything is consolidated. Doesn't sound that much different, but I did, for the most part, re-record this verse. Just because I had already resampled it and it wasn't mixed properly. And this part is a lot more bare bones. There's hardly anything on it. Nothing down here. It just doesn't feel like it builds up as much as the new one. No pretty little Minecraft sounds here, but we do have some big drums. I totally forgot I put taiko drums in this. If you don't know, taiko drums are those big Japanese drums that are like used for ceremonies and stuff. I use them in a lot of songs, not gonna lie, but I don't think it works here. The vocals are so minimal. And I've put them all the way down here, which makes no sense. And I haven't frozen or flattened really any of them, to be honest. Just kind of crazy. I was going through this weird habit where I liked destroying my CPU, so I would put all of the vocal effects I wanted on the buses instead of on the actual tracks, and then just edit them as I like them, which is a fine thing to do if your computer can handle it, but mine for the most part can't. I'm actually really surprised the fact that I'm recording this right now and my computer has decided to work still. So yeah, on these buses here I have an EQ8 with this crazy high pass. I went through a phase when, I'd say 2 years ago when I was producing music, where I didn't realize that a lot of the humanness in a voice came from the mid to low range frequencies. So I would cut off all of my vocals around 500 to 1,000 hertz. If you're not a producer, that's high. It's not high, but for vocals, you're basically just going to get breathiness, and my voice is quite high, especially as I'm singing these. So I just kind of thought to myself, what's the point of even having them there? No, there is a point. There's absolutely a point. Then I have this old school Verb plugin on it and Portal, and then Soothe, which is a compressor mixer thing. It's funny, I put a vocal warmer on this when I could have just did that, but that just shows you how inept I was back then at mixing things. Listen to how high and bright that is. There's no body to the voice. Also lacking a lot of chorus harmony. Although I did leave a lot of these vocals in. I just stacked harmonies on top of them that are better mixed. No body to the voice. I sound very out of place and kind of alien, I suppose, in it. Then I have this crazy roll down thing, which is not too dissimilar from what is actually in the song, but I did include the vocals with the none of that existed back then. And then it's basically a complete drop off. This is where the song really changes up. So originally, if you are a fan of Massive Attack, like I am, I'm a huge Massive Attack fan, you might be aware of their song called Future Proof. I essentially sampled all of that song because I thought it was so cool. And to be honest, at the time, I didn't actually think that this song was ever going to be released or go anywhere. So I'm thinking to myself, if I just sample another song, copyright, who cares, But then when I finally got the courage to rework Blue, and then I wanted to rework Tsunami as well, I realized to myself that if I was going to release it, I literally can't just have a full Massive Attack instrumental in the song. That would be a copyright nightmare, and I don't want to deal with that, because if Massive Attack sues me, I'm not winning. At first, I just kind of sampled the melody, the chords. So we got this bird thing that ended up staying in, as well as the click loop. This is directly from Future Proof by Massive Attack, and so is the main beat. The only thing I added to it was the single solitary kick. Nothing else has really changed from the Massive Attack song. And I also have the original vocals to Tsunami over this as well. But but they are very horribly mixed. With the reverse effects in the background still. This is so bare bones compared to what the song is now. It's making me very happy to realize that I've come so far in my production. What is that cut there? What is that vocal comping? That doesn't even sound smooth at all. That doesn't sound smooth at all. And originally, this was the hook. It was mainly sustained on the callback from Blue, and it wasn't as long, it wasn't as grand. And there was this little end part here that I decided to include in. And then again, like the new version of the song, it ends with this squelching type of sound. I feel like there's not much to talk about here, other than the fact that, dang, I have really grown as a producer. It's kind of insane how much you can do if you really just put yourself to it. I basically have the same vocal chain for everything, with the callbacks to the Blue thing here. Some of them are kind of off-key as well. So yeah, that is essentially the old demo version of Blue Tsunami. It originally was just called Blue. I did not even have a name for the ending part of the song, even though I knew that I didn't necessarily want it to be similar to Blue. That is the production breakdown. That is the progression of how the song came to be. You know, recording this has actually made me really realize how much more YouTube content I want to do based around producing, because I get really nerdy and in depth with it. I guess fear about posting it because I understand a lot of you are watching because of like my video essays and stuff like that, and you probably don't know much about music production, but if you want to learn, then I got you, because I had some really humble beginnings. I finally feel confident enough in my skill and my ability at this point that I'm willing to share my progress with you guys and not feel ashamed about the way I do things. I would just like to say also, thank you so much to all of your love and support with my new song. It really just warms my heart and could make me cry, even though it's very not hard to make me cry. Yeah, thank you so much. Keep streaming Blue Tsunami. As you can see, it's been 2 years in making. I put a lot of really hard work and thought and time into it. The fact that even a couple people can just sit there and actually enjoy it makes my heart so warm. It makes me feel like what I'm doing is worthwhile. I got a lot more songs. I got a lot more in the vault. I am 100% for more women behind the scenes, more anybody who's not a man, more queer women, more women of color, more trans women working with production, because we are few and far between and we need to support each other, because slowly but surely this industry is changing. We are on the come up. You watching this video is, I guess, helping that cause, because you're making me realize that I'm not just Marzi the singer, I want to be Marzi the artist, Marzi the producer. I love producing. As far as music goes, it's my favorite thing to do. I will see you guys in another video. I just have like a lot of songs. Like if you saw the Notion folder thing that I have of all the songs that I have, you'd actually kind of be like, dude, what the hell? What are you doing? I got a plan. You'll know about it eventually.